Okay, so the big controversy and the question coming up on the use of plastic pellets at the 20th July protest. Initially, the Delhi police completely denied the use of the pellets, but the injuries that we were looking at were undeniable. And we now understand that there are stories in the Hindu, in the Indian Express, in PTI that tell us that there is a diary entry in the police station that says an RAF personnel did fire plastic pellets on the orders of a deputy commissioner of police level officer. This is what we understand. Now, the interesting part about this story right now is there is a petition before the Supreme Court that has been filed by Yashovardhan Azad, retired IPS officer, former special director of the Intelligence Bureau, very senior police officer, along with two other petitioners who were victims who have injuries from pellet guns. And the petition is asking the court to ban the use of pellet guns to disperse a civilian crowd, to award compensation and to ensure medical treatment. Mr. Azad speaks to me right now. Mr. Azad, thank you so much for giving me time and for speaking with me. And thank you for taking this up before the Supreme Court. Could you explain to us what your motivation is, and do you believe that the Supreme Court will ban the use of these guns?
Well, Faye, how it originated was that it was a deeply disturbing and a distressing incident which took place. And the way the policemen were beaten up, the way some protesters bystanders were beaten up, some unprofessional acts on the police, and the use of pellet guns, which virtually damaged permanently, like hurting an eye, and 4 people, I think 7 people were injured. I don't know the exact count. But these two, when you see them, Mansoori and Pradeep, you're really, heart comes out of your mouth, seeing them and talking to them. Now, the question is that, yes, pellet guns are allowed, in the sense that after much criticized in usage in Jammu and Kashmir, in 2016, I think their expert committee was set up. And MHA also developed a protocol and also said that there'll be 3 days training for the use of pellet guns. So, which means that it was still in usage. And in 2018, in Parliament, I think in March, a minister replied saying, yes, pellet guns are used. MHA has got an SOP. It is the second last resort. So in that respect, the pellet gun was used. But why for crowd control in a metropolitan city or any ordinary city? So when you are saying that the Delhi police denied its use, Delhi police actually does not have in its arsenal. That's true. Yeah. But the Rapid Action Force, which is a part of the CRPF for crowd control, has this, okay? And the question, there are 2 issues here. Why was it issued from the armory, the pellet gun? Number 1, was it because the CRPF thought that, le jao koi baat nahi hai? Or was it requisitioned by the Delhi police? I don't think so. It would have been requisitioned by the Delhi police. Now, anyway, when it came, and it was, in full view of everybody, that it was used in Connaught Place, it was not used in Jantar Mantar. Now, in Connaught Place, that's why I'm asking, was there a situation such that the police was being overwhelmed, police was being attacked in brutally, and ki jaan pe banai hai, that kind of stuff? Was it that the graded resort to the SOP was done, and then this was used? So, first should be a judicial kind of an inquiry. And Supreme Court will obviously first ask the state what you have to say. And if it orders a judicial inquiry, all the facts will come out, whether the use of pellet guns, where you see that the impact has been so severe and the losses outweigh the gains, it will then motivate the Supreme Court. Yes, it need not be used in these conditions because you have a series of other, non-fatal, non-lethal weapons to be used for crowd control. And secondly, Faye, the most important thing we are also asking for is a compensation which is after much deliberation, after a studied kind of effect on everything, which includes everything which compensates for life. Because if something is life damaging, then the compensation should not be, 50 lakh mein kaam ho gaya, ye ho gaya. No, it should be as per the damage which has been inflicted. These are the two demands.
So, Mr. Azad, I want to ask you these questions. I'll break them down piece by piece, but because there's a lot of police protocol that, as regular citizens, we don't understand. When you say who requisitioned the pellet gun out of the armory of the RAF, because the Delhi police doesn't have it at all. So, is this something? Where would this requisition under normal protocol have to come from? Does the RAF make the decision of what it needs to bring, because it is functioning here on, I would understand, on invitation of the Delhi police? Does the Delhi police have to ask, or does it go to, say, the Home Department or the Home Ministry that's overlooking both or overseeing both of these departments? Where does it come from?
No, you see, what happens is Rapid Action Force is a trained organization for fighting, law and order situations, for bringing crowd situations under control, for any kind of incident which happens in state. And the state requisitions the troops. It does not tell them that you bring these arms or these arms or these arms. So Rapid Action Force, in its own wisdom, may have thought that since we are going for a crowd control, we should also get pellet guns. Pellet guns are also used in J&K, right? So just bring it here. Now, when you bring it here and you see on site that these guys are here, maybe the situation was so terrible that the DCP said, "Haan, chalao," or was it? That's exactly the point.
That's the question. Also, sir, the diary entry that I mentioned actually says Zone 1 Jantar Mantar. It doesn't say CP. And there's no mention of that escalating situation that you said, right? So my understanding is you have to first make announcement, then water cannon, then baton charge. It goes in that escalation. So is this what is worrying you?
Zone 1, you see, Zone 1 is covering both Jantar Mantar and CP. Okay. So what I'm saying is what the injury site says, according to my knowledge, that it was CP. The battle was taking place at Jantar Mantar. So did it happen also in CP that the policemen were being attacked, the DCB was hit or somebody very close, and this was as a counter reaction which happened immediately? So these, we must give everyone a chance to explain. That's all I'm saying. But I'm saying the very use of metal pellets. Why? What happens is there is no accuracy first. Yes. If you have a projectile, even if we have if we are firing, Faye, we always aim below the waist. Why? Because we don't want to kill them. It's basically to manage, and we are spotting the real criminals or the ones who are creating trouble, the troublemakers. So where your impact is going to be. In this case, what happens? It's like a cloud spray. 250 or 400 packed of these metal particles, they shower out, and it can go to the eye, it can go to the leg, of any kind. So that is why it is dangerous. This is not something which we cannot control. We cannot control at all. It's indiscriminate. It has an area effect. It doesn't have a pointed effect. That's why I'm saying that it is dangerous and it should not be used.
Mr. Azad, they will also, I think the diary entry confirms plastic pellets and not metal pellets. Is that in any way better or is that worse?
Well, there's a mixture of both plastic and metal. So the impact is such that it can create a damage. If it's closer, the damage will be more.
Would your case also look for this to be banned in Jammu and Kashmir as well, or are you treating that as a separate case argument?
Well, I would say that in 90% of the times it can, even in Srinagar, for example, if you are having a protest at Lal Chowk, there is a crowd which is coming, on the street. It is not a crowd which is throwing stones at you from various, nooks and corners and all that. You see, why was it used there, Kashmir? It was used because the police couldn't go close for a lathi charge because it was dangerous. They were being attacked from all sides. And if you're using tear gas, it will waft away in the breeze or in the air, whereas you are getting brutally attacked. So they said that, okay, we should not fire, but we should take the help of pellet guns. But then it caused damage still. And if you recall, there were 6,600 people who were injured. And the eye damages, we flew AIMS doctors over there. So what I'm saying, even in those places, I would think twice. And the ban, I would rather say ban it everywhere.
Mm.
Ban it everywhere.
And I'm going to ask you a question outside of this, and I know we're running out of time. We're looking at your watch, but with all of your experience in the police force, Azad Sahab, when you looked at what played out on the 20th of July at the heart of our national capital, did you believe it could have been handled better?
If you ask me, let me put it very bluntly. It was clearly a political lapse. It was the inaction on the part of the state lumped onto the police, as it happens always. For 25 days, the protesters, it was a pure protest, purely on governance, against governance. Every protest is infiltrated by criminals. It's nothing new. It has been happening right from the beginning. The government didn't think it proper in their hubris to even entertain any kind of a dialogue, negotiation, meeting, nothing. And you took away Sonam Wangchuk, aggravating the situation, and therefore it was poised for a march. Jantar Mantar was okay, you can protest, but march was illegal. So this had to happen. Whose fault was it? Even in the SOP, the first thing they say is negotiation. So the state refused to. So this was bound to happen. So what has happened as a result, Faye? And I always say this. Look at what has happened, as expected. From the state apathy, inaction, and lapse, the subject being discussed is not the issue of need, but police brutality. Yeah. Every time it happens, police barbarity, police... one thing we should also be fair. 118 policemen were injured. 70 protesters were injured. Policemen were stoned, dragged to bushes. Public property damage. What about them? Do you think we should leave them? Not at all. We should beat the hell out of and prosecute those people. So, this is an inevitable inaction. And what were their demands? They were low-hanging fruits. Faye, resignation of the Hemendra Pradhan, 22 crores to be given, and no cases against the protesters. There was no problem. No case against the protester. Take action against the criminals. So you didn't do anything. And this is the basic lapse.
Right. Mr. Azad, I know that I've overshot the time you granted me, but thank you so much for taking this up before the Supreme Court and also for giving me your time. As always, it's a pleasure to speak with you.
Thanks, Faye. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah.